right, you guys, welcome back. It is Wicked Rare 22 coming to you again from actually my pay to play account. As you can see on this particular account, I have made it to level 50, and normally I would not divert from our Wicked Raider account, though I did show you my other free to play in the last video. So if you haven't had a chance to check that one out, went through Holstering and Shaman were the two champions I wanted you guys to take a look at because number one, they are available to you either through shard pools, and number two, we had that login champion and Shaman, and those have been game changers for my other free to play account. But on my pay to play, there are a couple of champions that you can also access through shard pools. And I want you guys to take a closer look at these particular champions. So as you can see, I've been working through, I have managed on this particular account to 6-star two of my champions, looking and trying to decide who else or who will be the next champion of focus. But I wanted to take a second to look at Steel Bowyer. Now, this is a champion that I actually pulled during the last event through shard pools. Got really excited because I've seen her in a couple of places. Love the aesthetic for the outfit overall. Really feeling the colors and the level of detail. She is a rare champion. She is an attack champion. But most importantly, thinking on that rare level, if you are making it to the point as a beginning player, you are now unlocking Doom Tower. Hold on to your rares. Hold on to your rare champions. And I'm going to show you why in a little bit. There are secret rooms that are available for specific rares. And so, yes, if you plan on completing those dungeon rooms, you will definitely have to expand the number and types of champions that you keep. But let's take a look at Steel Bowyer in particular. Would I count her as a game changer for this particular account? The answer is probably no. So she's not my most excitable, most impactful champion, but I can say she has definitely found an area on teams where she serves a very particular niche. Now, overall, is she the most highly rated? It's kind of rough, guys. As you can see, Hydra, Faction Wars are her two highest areas. Everywhere else, she is pretty mediocre. And yes, I have her 5-starred and fully ascended. But again, it's for some of her skills in particular. And we'll also take a look at what artifacts I've chosen to place on this particular champion. But of course, let's start where we always start. Let's take a look at her kit. Now, her first attack is going to be Binding Arrows. She attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 35% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. This was not the most mind-blowing skill. If you take a look at the number of books that are needed, this is a rough one because the likelihood of pulling that many dupes is pretty slim unless you're highly into gameplay. And I'm not sure if booking her would be my first option. But now that I've opened the secret room in the dungeon, I don't know, guys. I'm tempted. I'm tempted. So I haven't put that choice away. You can increase her damage, of course, by 30%. You can also increase the buff and debuff chances by 15% as well. Now, Thrill of the Hunt is we're getting a little bit better. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Heals his champion by 50% of the damage inflicted on each critical hit. And this will come in handy. There have been moments where I have my lead champion in place. I know that I want or need to have one more attack so that I won't have a defeat at the very end, because those last moments are probably the hardest ones. But this skill in particular does come in handy, and you can place it on a 3-turn cooldown. Big Game is another one that's really good. Attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to the enemy's max HP. So you want to build Steel Bowyer with a nice amount of HP and a good hit. And I focus and try to really focus on both of these. So when I start looking at artifacts and looking at who is going to be prioritized over others, it's things like this that I kind of keep in mind. You start with a 7 turn, but can get this down to a 5 turn cooldown. And you also have the option to increase the amount of damage that is applied to your enemy by 25%. Not bad on this particular skill. Now, are there people who do it better? Do we have other champions that can do it better? And the answer is yes. But her aura increases ally attack in faction crypts by 17%, so not bad. When I'm thinking about binding arrows, if we're going back and just taking a look at attacks and worthiness, I guess overall, when you're thinking about decreased accuracy, if you are in certain keeps, this can be helpful if you don't have another champion that does this. But decreased accuracy is actually one of those skills that you're going to run into on quite a number of champions. Now, mastery wise, I've chosen to do a few things with her when it comes to masteries. So far, we've done the increase for her attack for 75. We did critical damage by 10%. Went in with the increased damage inflicted on targets by 25% because most of them will have some type of shield buff on them at this point. Increase defense by 75, and then increase the amount of healing and value of buffs that this champion will receive by 5%. I normally will run Steel Bowyer on a team that has a reviver. Endure the Hungerer right now is my all-time favorite for this particular account. Just loving the fact of having Dur maxed out at 6 and now working on masteries overall. I do want to run Steel Bowyer in a battle so you guys can kind of see how that's going. I have been able to make it to Nightmare, but we are only up to Durham Forest as far as Nightmare goes. So let's see. We'll go back to Brutal. Let's just run 12-3. Slide her on a team, and you guys will be able to see exactly what she's able to do. Let's actually go down, down. So with Steel Bowyer, slide her in. Dirt the Hunger is probably not necessary at this point, but I will put them in. And of course, we'll run someone for food. So the food champions always come into play. Now with Steel Bowyer, faction crypt is another area where she can definitely be helpful. Sometimes it's just the champions that you have available to you. She does a nice amount of damage. If you pull Kel as your starting champion, then you know that he has those poison attacks. If you pull Elhain or Aethel, for example, Steel Bowyer will be a nice addition if you have no other champions that are dealing any type of poison damage. Now, if you have several champions on your team, their first AoE is going to be an all enemy attack. Bowyer can be another one that will come in for that second, maybe even that third round with that attack, and that's going to make a difference. Here, she's still going to be a little bit squishier than I would like, but now you guys are going to see why I actually run her on a team with a reviver. Would she be in my top 10 of champions? The answer is no. I cannot say, even damage wise, that she's going to be a top favorite. Campaign farmer, no. I have others that are definitely quicker. But I think in dungeon and faction crypt is probably where I keep her. I don't mind her in arena. She's okay depending on the team you build around her. Second time down, this is 12-3 on Brutal. So you guys can kind of see where she lies overall. There are a lot of rare champions that are going to fall into this category. And unfortunately, oh, there we go. You can definitely see why Dur is one of my favorites in this category, just as far as being able to revive champions. The downfall is I don't think Dur is going to make it back to being able, hey, there's another revival. So it comes in handy. Now, in between being revived and reflecting damage from Steel Bowyer, remember that she is able to heal herself based on what you have her in. And as you can see, still victorious. Not the fastest battle, still at a minute 58, but can definitely get you through. So when you're looking at champions as far as upgrades, beyond the excitement, would I take her beyond 5 stars? No, probably not. This is where she will stay. Will I use her for the team purposes? The answer is yes, because I've been working on the artifacts that are attached to her as well. Currently, I do have her in Cruel because that's going to add that 15% to her attack. She's also able to ignore 5% of the enemy's defense. I did put her in an offense set for that added 15%. And then Divine Life, just trying to give her a little bit of a boost so far. So have made it to the point of being able to put a ring on her that focuses on attack as well, gives her quite a bit of HP. And then the amulet is also really important, so adds a little bit more attack. So as you can see, the name of the game for Steel Bowyer has been attack, attack, attack all across the board. Not a bad champion, depending on where you are in the game. If I am extremely early game, I mean like you are level 25 and below. If you pull Steel Bowyer, she's actually and definitely worth keeping, depending on who you pull so far. If you are level 30, 20 to 30, she may still definitely be worth it. But it's a champion that if I pulled her, I would likely put her in my vault, hold on to her for a while to see if there's a niche she may fill. Don't forget, faction crypts will always call for you to build out a couple of champions, so she may qualify. The dungeon is another area. When you unlock Tag Team Arena is going to be another one where she may be able to help you depending on how your team has been built. Always something to keep in mind. If you have her, guys, you've had a chance to run her through campaign. If you're using her in dungeons, let me know. What do you think? Do you think she's worth it? Not quite a trash champion, but definitely not going to be one that's going to knock me out of my seat. But hey, you never know. Maybe there'll be some changes for her along the way because the aesthetic is certainly there. If you stay with me this long, I am Wicked Raider 22. Don't forget, we post content Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. So be sure to subscribe. Questions, tips, comments, I am waiting and ready for them all. So leave them for me, and I'll see you soon.